We're celebrating the 75th birthday of Stephen King. Cassian Andor is back in a new and very different feeling Star Wars show. Don't Worry Darling was released finally amidst all the crazy drama surrounding that movie. There's also new trailers for an M. Night Shyamalan movie and a new Hellraiser movie, as well as a weird bit of news about a reboot of the Karate Kid that's got nothing to do with the Karate Kid or Cobra Kai or anything else to do with the Karate Kid that people actually enjoy, which is weird. It's also the Glasses episode of Monday Madness today, although I may take mine off pretty shortly. Welcome to the madness! I've taken my glasses off. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Monday Madness.
It was
with
such
Morgan.
a vibe.
Was it a vibe? Should I put them back on? I don't know. I might take them off and
we're
put
the
them on.
blue light. We're the blue light posers today because we don't normally wear glasses. We just, need them to deflect negative lights that screw with our eyes. So.
Yes, it's just mine. Unfortunately, have a lot of glare from
yeah.
lights for lovely people watching Monday Madness. But they do help. I mean, they do help. It has to be said.
Yes,
Glasses
they actually
help
really do.
when you're looking at lights and screens and things of that nature. It's very, very true. But yes, we're back. Monday Madness with Morgan and the Machine. Hello, the Machine.
Hello, the Morgan.
How are we? Are we excited?
Yes, a lot of fun stuff to talk about today. So
Yes,
I'm ready to get into it.
I think it's a fairly celebratory episode today, especially with our Let's Talk being a celebration of the 75th birthday of Stephen King.
Yeah, last week.
An enormous name in horror. Obviously, we are keeping the horror theme going.
Yes, but also he has a very
season.
kind of vast genre of stories that he writes. So
he does,
but mostly known for the horror, definitely.
Yes, of course, king of modern horror.
Yes,
the king of kings. No, that's Jesus, isn't it? I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm likening Stephen King to Jesus now.
Yes,
I've gone a bit insane.
I
apologize for the Christians watching that I have offended with that past statement. But we are talking about Stephen King and some of our favorite movie adaptations of his in our Let's Talk. But there's obviously loads to talk about in the What's Up segment. To begin with, Jeannine,
Yes.
should I ask the question?
Go for it.
Sup, Jeannine?
A lot is up, Morgan.
Oh, wow. Well, what are we starting off with?
Well, I mean, I think mostly everything we have to talk about in this segment is pretty positive, so we'll get the negative thing out of the way.
Okay.
Apparently, there was a little bit of gossipy drama happening with Adam Levine of Maroon 5.
He's nice.
I don't know.
He's always fun.
Yeah.
He doesn't weird people out at all.
No, not at all. So a woman who is an Instagram model, she came forward and apparently said that she had been having a years-long affair with Adam Levine.
Lovely.
And she wasn't going to come forward, but one of her friends she had shared screenshots with, and they were going to go to a publication with them. So to squash the story or get her side out of the story and not allow her friend to like make any money off of her, she decided to tell her truth, as she's saying. So yeah, she also shared that she had recently got a message from Adam Levine, who asked her if the child that he is about to have with his wife is a boy, could he name the child after her? So her name is Sumner. So he was like, I want to name our child a Sumner if it's a boy. So his wife is
unusual.
Yes. So according to her, yes, this was a message sent by him recently in reference to his currently pregnant wife. So it's a whole kind of gossip, a very much he said, she said situation. Who's telling the truth? Adam Levine has come forward and spoke about the fact that yes, he did have a inappropriate flirtatious message relationship with her, but not an actual physical relationship with her. So
Look,
that's kind of
admittedly,
where it stands right now.
this is kind of the nonsense that I don't tend to pay much attention to.
Yeah.
But I have seen on Twitter everybody's making jokes about this ridiculous message that he's supposedly sent her about how good her body looks, and people are just putting silly
Inserting
emojis
weird
over the
pictures in
top of it, like
there. Yes.
obviously incredibly ridiculous.
Yeah, like SpongeBob or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Oh my god, your body is just out of this world. I can't even fathom how absurd your body is. And it's
Yes.
just like a picture of Mike Wazowski or something like that. And it's
Yes.
just funny. It's
It's
just
definitely
funny.
been memed to hell already.
We
So
like
yeah,
memes.
just a very much he said, she said gossip. I don't really know where I stand on it. Um, it seems very weird, her timing of revealing it and, um,
I,
you know,
I
so I
look,
don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know anything about either of them or kind of, he's saying that yes, he did have a flirtatious relationship with her through text, but never actually met up with her or had a physical relationship with her, and she's saying otherwise. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think I've seen enough from either of them to really kind of choose a side. But yeah, just very interesting to see how this is going to play out. But so far, we're getting some very interesting memes. So that's
Yeah,
kind of
which
where
is fun.
my opinion lands on that situation. But
As far as I'm concerned, it simply furthers my image of Adam Levine, which is just someone who just looks a bit
smarmy.
nasty,
Yeah, he is said to be kind of smarmy and also kind of just one of those shitty celebrities who
very full
really
of
doesn't
himself.
who full of himself, talks down to fans, not really
Yeah,
appreciative, that
I get
type
the
of
vibe.
person.
I get
Yes.
the vibe.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
if you have an opinion about this, if you care about this, if you are on one of these people's sides, leave it in the comments below.
Yeah, leave some memes as well. We like memes.
Yes, yes, we would love to
You
see
can do
some
that.
memes of this.
That's fun.
Moving forward, we had Tom Hardy quietly enter into a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament and proceed to win the tournament.
Yes, I did see this as well. This was very strange. I mean, strange but not strange because we know from a pretty notable movie that he did a little over 10 years ago that Tom Hardy can fight
Yes,
pretty
and also
well.
it's just like, imagine walking up, seeing Tom Hardy, and then you're just like, "Nope, not getting my back broken today," and then just walking away.
You
You were
would
literal Bane. You broke Batman's back, and you expect me to fight.
you would be a little bit taken aback, wouldn't you, if you
Yeah,
showed
but I
up to
think he
this as a
he kind of would
as
just
just
tell
a
people, just try not to think about it being me and just do your best, like please, like
well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's nobody's gone soft on him or gone easy on him or anything like that. And all power to Tom Hardy for doing things outside of just what he's most known for.
yeah,
You
and
know, why not?
he said
People are allowed
training
to
and
have
fighting
lives.
and entering this tournament has given him more focus and has helped him with his mental health and his sobriety. So good for
Great
him
then.
for just bettering himself and doing something outside the box and just still trying to like live life like a normal person. And
I mean, that's
it was great. I'm really
doing
happy for him.
doing
So
something like that for that reason is just brilliant. And
yeah.
we like Tom Hardy. We
Yes.
don't necessarily like Adam Levine. We like Tom
We do like
Hardy.
Tom Hardy, he's great. So that was
So
really kind of a nice, fun little story, a fun little surprise seeing him
yeah,
just pop up in this tournament and win. So yay,
the
won
opening
gold.
the opening little snippets of What's Up have been significantly different attitudes to the individuals involved
Yes.
from us. I think it has to be said. We do like Tom Hardy. Fair play to Tom Hardy. Give him a professional, you know, jujitsu run.
Yeah, I mean, he got a
Let's see
gold
how he does.
medal. So yeah, let's see if he wants to kind of do more stuff. So that'd be really fun.
I mean,
Um,
I don't mind that. You know, when people have like a defined martial art, and
yeah.
that's what they practice, or even like boxing. Like I have respect for boxing, but I refer to MMA as professional beating each other up, which is
I
just
mean,
it
that's
just seems
fair.
like you just have a brawl. Anything goes. You just have a brawl, and I don't get it. I've never got it. I've never understood the appeal of MMA and UFC, but individual fighting styles, boxing, jiu-jitsu, karate, individual martial arts. I
Yeah, to
I I
dedicate
I
your time to
respect
something.
them. I
Yeah,
respect them a lot.
to dedicate your time and energy in your body to something so kind of specific that you have to
Yeah.
kinda, know specific moves and work certain parts of your body, and yeah, it takes a lot, so
Whenever
yeah.
I've come across MMA and UFC, it just seems like two people just dive on top of each other, pound each
Well, I
other's
mean,
heads
that's
into the
probably what
ground.
laid the base for what Tom Hardy knew of jujitsu to begin with. I mean, probably
Oh,
doing
yeah, I mean,
a lot of the
sure.
training for Warrior, but, yeah,
I don't know.
definitely a discipline that deserves respect for sure.
Someone who does like the UFC and things like that, please try and explain to me why it's not just professional beating each other up, because it very much comes across as that.
I mean, I think that that's just a kind of silly name, so they just need to make it sound more kind of, specified, I guess.
I don't know. I really don't know. Anyway.
But, we also got a couple of movie trailers. I mean, we are having
Ooh,
a great.
are we starting with the trailers then for our movie-related topics?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just loving 2022. This has been a great year for horror films. We are, uh,
Yes,
having a lot. Horror fans are eating very good right now.
definitely.
And yeah, so we're getting more of that. This seems like this very kind of weird M. Night Shyamalan movie, A Knock at the Cabin. Not is that what it's called?
Knock at the Cabin. Yes,
Yes. With Dave Bautista, and he's kind of one of four people who come and infiltrate this gay couple and their daughter is staying vacationing in this cabin, and they come and kind of kidnap them and tell them, they have to make this choice because the four of them are trying to end the apocalypse. So it's like, are they crazy people? Is this something that's really happening? Like,
this is Shyamalan. There'll be some sort of cult thing going on, won't there?
yeah.
Or
So
it will perhaps be an apocalypse, but it will all be revealed that it's really just a village, an Amish village in the middle of a field somewhere that was actually in the real world all the time. Ha ha ha! The village.
yes. But I
Um,
mean, it could be something like a Ready or Not that, like, ended up
possibly.
yeah, like, I mean, the family was trying to stop some curse that they didn't even really know or believe was real, and it
Yeah.
turns out it actually was. So, um, it could be a
Yeah,
situation
it
like
could be
that.
something
I
like
mean,
that.
I don't know.
It
But
tends to be fun to figure out what's
and
going to
speculate what's
happen in
happening.
Shyamalan movies, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Yes, and I mean, I didn't actually watch his newest outing, Old. I heard kind of weird things about it,
Neither
but
did I
yeah.
actually, and that's reminded me that I probably should have.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm not one to fully kind of like, oh, people said it was bad, so I'm not gonna watch it. If it's something that I want to watch, I'm gonna watch it regardless of what people
Definitely,
say
yeah.
about it. But I mean, there was enough kind of talks out there about just how it was just very weird and it wasn't really scary and the twist was not, you know, as strong as we've seen. And I mean, and then I just didn't really just kind of in seeing the premise, it didn't really pull me into kind of be like, I need to watch this now. So it was something I felt comfortable waiting on, and I still just haven't watched it yet. So
No, this one looks interesting though. This Knock at the
yes,
Cabin
I'm
looks
really
interesting.
curious. Yeah, I'm really curious
It's
to see
it's
what's
interesting
going
to
on here.
see Dave Bautista do slightly different things as well that aren't just big hulking brute
Well, I
roles.
mean, yeah, I mean, he's kind of become this like acting snob almost. Like,
Yeah, a little bit,
well, I mean,
little
he's
bit.
made comments like I think he's been approached to do like Fast and Furious movies, and he kind of like turned up his nose, like I'm trying to be a real actor. Like he kind of had that
But
attitude when asked about doing movies like that.
also I mean, yes, it's snobbish, but it's
I
not a
like
bad attitude.
yeah, no, but then you see him do things like this commercial called The Streamer where he's playing like this old fisherman advertising streaming services, like,
Well, I don't know.
and doing
I don't.
doing the big guy, little girl nanny movie, So then you see him do things like
Yes.
that and Stuber, um,
Yes,
and
that's a
then you
good
wonder,
point.
so I'm like, I get that. Like, you want to be seen as a serious actor. You kind of want to jump over all the hoops The Rock had to get where he is,
Yeah.
and not do all these kinds of silly movies or to get where you want to be.
I
But then you're doing like silly things anyway. So that's why it was just kind of like,
I will
okay,
be honest with you though. I I've never been massively into The Rock anyway, in movies or otherwise. Um, I don't really know why. Um, Black Adam, for example, that's not too far off now.
yeah,
What
like
a month or so away.
I'm not as excited as about that movie as I should be.
I'm really not. I'm
And
really
I'm
not,
more
and this is very unusual, but I'm really not.
Yes, and I'm kind of more excited to see Aldous Hodge as like Hawkman than
And
as
Pierce
Black.
Brosnan as Doctor Fate.
Yeah. Yes. So,
Yes.
so I mean, yeah, like I saw a trailer during like and a different trailer that kind of showed a little bit more um in Don't Worry Darling, and I thought that I'm still just
No,
not really
I
doing
don't know.
much for
So
me.
as far as wrestlers, WWE wrestlers who became big movie stars, I I prefer watching Dave Batista
Yeah.
to Dwayne Johnson. I
Yeah,
do.
I mean, and I respect him and I appreciate him like wanting to have this more elevated career and do more interesting things and not just jump into kind of, these goofy blockbusters.
Yeah. Which is also kind of what John Cena did, but I think John Cena's pretty funny when he
Yeah,
wants to
he's
be.
surprisingly funny. So, yeah, Peacemaker is great, and I can't wait for you to actually get an opportunity to watch it.
I definitely can watch it and have been able to for ages and never have.
Okay, well, you need to. It's great. It's
But
really good.
I just got it significantly later than the US did.
Yes, but you need to watch
But
Peacemaker.
I
It's
can
great.
watch it. I
Yes.
know I can watch it
We'll
now.
have to do a whole kind of discussion when the new season's about to come out and track
Yeah,
back for you. But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I commend him for wanting to have this more elevated career, but then I've also seen him do some pretty goofy things, so then it kind of just contradicts that. But I appreciate him really trying to cultivate this career for himself and do his own thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, great to see him doing kind of a more serious, maybe almost horror thriller Shyamalan vibe type movie. And obviously I appreciate that this trailer left a lot to be imagined and didn't
An
really give
awful lot.
too
It
much
barely
away.
told you anything really, did it?
Yes.
It set up
So
an aesthetic, it set up a feeling,
and you kind of
and
just
very
see
little
who's in it
else.
and you see your characters and set up some tense moments. So yeah, I'm based off of this trailer, I'm really curious about this movie. And I
Definitely.
always appreciate, whether I may not love everything that Shyamalan does, I always appreciate, that there's some thought there, there's some creativity there, that we're
Absolutely.
getting some original ideas and original content as opposed to kind of regurgitated legacy things that are connected to something else and all of that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And look, I remember when we did a Shyamalan series on Morgan Hasn't Seen, and I was opened up to far more M. Night Shyamalan movies than I had originally watched. And he's made some really good movies. I
Yeah,
mean,
yes.
I might have made a joke about The Village before, but I still think The Village is his
It's
best
great.
movie.
I knew you
Or,
were gonna love that because it's definitely, like, so your aesthetic.
or it's my favorite Shyamalan movie. And it really honestly is. I think it's great. Um, but obviously, your Sixth Sense and Unbreakable and Split and whatever you think about Glass, I didn't mind Glass. I thought Glass was quite good. The Visit's great.
Yeah.
So he's by all means, this could be another great Shyamalan movie, and I
Yes.
hope it is. I hope it is. It looks interesting. I have added to my watch list, so to speak.
Yay.
Knock on the Cabin, which really should have a door in the title, shouldn't it? I mean,
Yeah, like, it feels like the cat the
knock on the
title falls
door,
short.
knock on the cabin door,
Yes.
knock
Yeah,
knock
I was
on the cabin, knock at the cabin. Knock
Yes.
at the cabin. Still, it should be called Knock at the
Yeah,
cabin
something with the title
door.
felt like something was missing there,
Are you,
but,
are you knocking
um
at the cabin roof? Are you knocking at the cabin
just at the
wall?
cabin, on the wall, on the side,
On
on
the
the window.
porch of the cabin?
Yeah. So yes, definitely that title leaves something to be desired, but in the
Hopefully the
content,
movie doesn't.
yes, the content of the trailer looked very intriguing. We also got a trailer for the new Hellraiser, a Hulu original kind of
Yes,
readaptation of.
now.
Yes.
This
I was never a huge Hellraiser fan. I mean, I've only seen the first movie, but very much kind of dark gothic concepts happening there, which are very interesting. Like I didn't hate the first movie.
I
Pinhead,
admittedly
a
have
very iconic
also
horror figure.
yeah. I admittedly have also only actually seen the first Hellraiser. This is something I want to change. Arrow Video do a really nice Hellraiser trilogy box set now that I kind of want to get.
Okay.
So I own the first Hellraiser on a DVD. I can't even remember what features, if anything, is on that, but I
Special on it.
want to get this kind of this set because it's a really nice looking set full of stuff. And I'm into Hellraiser. I like the first Hellraiser a lot. I've not watched it in ages, and it,
Yeah,
for
me
some
either.
reason, never seem to have the desire to
Gravitate
put it
to.
on. But
Yeah, same.
whenever I see it on, say, I'm watching a horror documentary and there's a little bit that
A
shows
mentioning
clips
of
from
it. Yeah.
Hellraiser, I'm always like, oh yeah, I should watch Hellraiser again. Hellraiser's great.
Yeah.
Because I always say that Hellraiser's great. I always say I like Hellraiser. I think it's weird. It's incredibly unique. It's sadistic. It's full of just bizarre kind of control imagery, um, otherworldly powers and
Yeah.
demonic curses and things like this. It's completely out of a maniac's mind, and Clive Barker's, I think, involved in this one as well.
Yes. Mhm. Yeah.
So, and this is a reimagination, so it's not like it's not one of the sequels or anything like that. It's a re. You can't call it a reboot, really, can you? It's just it's bringing Hellraiser, I suppose, more modern.
Yeah.
It's
And
pretty much
even
the same idea.
yes, but just a modern take on it. And I mean, it's even the puzzle box is more interesting because from what I remember, like the puzzle box didn't really do much. You kind of just like touched it like a genie lamp and then
No,
you know.
it moved
I
around quite a
mean,
bit. It had its own little um movements to it. I don't think it
but I don't remember it being as intricate as what we're seeing in this movie. So,
maybe not as visually, but
yeah.
when you explain or when characters in the movie explain this is the puzzle box, you come to know that it's particularly intricate. You
Yeah.
might not, I don't actually think you do necessarily see it perform, but really we're more interested in what Pinhead and the Cenobites look like anyway,
Yeah.
because Pinhead is particularly iconic as a
Iconic. I
horror
mean, and even just seeing that silhouette in the
icon.
trailer, like, you didn't need to see their face, like, the silhouette was enough that,
No,
like, you knew what it was, who it was. So, yeah, I'm really interested in this, and
people
really
love Pinhead, and Pinhead in especially the first Hellraiser. Like I said, I haven't actually seen the other Hellraisers, but I'm led to believe he's in it a little bit more. He's barely in that first movie.
yeah,
He
but
says
to,
like
like
3 lines.
yes, and to be so iconic of that franchise is a testament, you know?
What are
So,
those lines though? "We'll tear your soul apart," and "We have such sights to show you," and it's just beautiful delivery.
yes. Wasn't there
Um,
some dubbing done or something in that movie? I can't remember.
I have no idea.
I wanna
Was
say
there?
some
Not to
yes.
Pinhead.
I don't remember. I
Not to
don't remember.
Pinhead.
I wanna say there were some dubbings maybe with the actors.
Probably
Um,
something to do with, Frank, who was a corpse walking. Probably something
yeah,
to do with him.
yeah.
Not Andrew Robinson. I mean, he's great in that as well. Should watch
Yeah.
Hellraiser. Let's go
I
and watch
know. We
Hellraiser.
should. We should. It's been a while. But
Let's
yeah,
let's return to Hellraiser. But no, this looks interesting to me.
it does.
Yeah, I'm into a reimagining of Hellraiser because I think it's it's I think our attitude to Hellraiser is exactly what mainstream horror's attitude to Hellraiser is that, oh yeah, Hellraiser's great. I don't watch it, but it's great.
It's great, yeah. There's
But
a
it's like it's
consensus
try
that
it
it's
wants
good,
to
but, like,
get people to watch it again. It wants to
yes,
get people into Hellraiser, much
and the
like
universe, yeah.
much like people have been returning to, the Halloween movies significantly
Yeah,
since
mhm,
2018 came out.
yes.
Um, I'm sure it probably wants that for Hellraiser as well because it's a fair franchise. It's got its sequels. I can't. Is it three? Has it just got three? Is it
I
the
feel like
three
it's
Hellraiser movies, or is there
I
more?
think it's 3 or 4, maybe 4, but I'm not sure.
No, there is three because that Arrow Video set is a
Has the stack.
trilogy,
But I don't know, is there, like, a 4th one that's not completely connected to those
possibly.
or something like that? I don't remember.
Possibly. Hellraiser's
Um,
not my area of expertise,
yeah,
I'll be honest.
definitely not. Um, but another thing getting a reboot, potentially is Karate Kid.
Yes, I alluded to this in the intro, didn't I? The rebooting the Karate Kid. Now, we have Cobra Kai now, don't we? Everybody loves Cobra. Literally everybody loves Cobra Kai.
Yes.
Some people have fallen off Cobra Kai because what's happened, what I have always feared would happen with Cobra Kai, has seemingly happened for some people where it's just got a bit overblown in itself and needs to calm itself down. Needs to stop doing the same storylines over and over and over again
Yeah, that's kind of
with
what
the
this
characters.
most recent season felt like, so I'm kinda like,
Needs
Morgan
to
was
stop
right."
doing that. Needs to stop doing that, Cobra
Yeah.
Kai. Naughty Cobra Kai. But it's a very, very successful TV show, and people generally very much like it.
And just really appreciate the concept of them continuing the story of the original
Yeah.
films. Um,
So this new Karate Kid is a reboot that
it's a
doesn't involve,
reimagining.
or reimagining, doesn't involve any of the Karate Kid slash Cobra Kai cast. So your actual, here's the Karate Kid cast. This is another Jaden Smith Karate Kid movie, but it's not with Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan.
No, so I was watching 3C Films and he was talking about this website, Murphy's Multiverse, who actually scooped the story of a Karate Kid reboot happening. And this wasn't confirmed by, he said he had sources. The Murphy's Multiverse website article said that they had sources that said this was happening, but there weren't really like any official reports.
Okay.
And he also had a potential plot synopsis in his article. And then I think maybe like a week or 2 later, then it was actually announced that it was happening, so he did get that right. So
Okay.
if that was correct, potentially this, synopsis that he gave might also be how they're doing it, which the story basically is a 17-year-old, like a teenager, he moves, um, from I can't remember where they said
Is
from,
it
like,
from
Hong Kong
China? I think it was
from
from
yeah,
China.
from China to Brooklyn or New York or something, and he already knows kung fu. So it's like the Jaden Smith where it's not actually karate, it's kung fu. And
Name recognition.
yes,
Don't
right?
you love it?
Yes. And he befriends this man who owns a pizza shop and his daughter. And I guess the pizza shop guy is getting bullied. So the kid ends up being the one teaching the man how to fight so that he can defend his shop and his daughter. And
I'll be
so
honest
it's
with you.
it's a kind of a switch.
It's certainly an interesting way of reimagining a story like it.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why it's the Karate Kid, though. Why can't
Yeah.
it just
Why can't
be
it just be something else? Yeah.
something totally else? And have that concept because it wouldn't be like if you had an original movie with a totally unique title that came out with that story you've just described. Nobody would think it's got anything to do with. Nobody would think it's a Karate Kid ripoff.
And people would describe in talking about it, they'd be like, "It's like a reverse Karate Kid," and like, but people do that all the
As
time
as
with
a
movies.
positive, people
Yes,
with
exactly. They find aesthetics in other movies, and when describing a movie they're reviewing or whatever, they can take those two films or that one film and use it as the descriptor, but it's still its own thing. And this
Yeah,
movie
I
feels very
don't
much, this
understand
concept
why.
feels very much its own thing, where you could put that descriptor on it. It's a reverse Karate Kid. But obviously that feels very much like it could be its own separate thing, especially when it's not dealing with characters or anything connected to those other universes of film. So I mean, I think
It's
it's a cool
weird.
concept. I think it's fun, but I don't know that they're using that IP and title for more than just the name recognition and get butts in the
No,
seats.
which
So,
does come across as a little bit shady. Little
yes,
little bit like, why are you bothering? Why are
yes,
you
but this is not
bothering?
an official report. This is just what this person,
Yeah,
Murphy's Multiverse, said that what a potential plot could be. So this potential plot has not been announced. The only announcement that has been made is that they are potentially making this movie and that it has nothing to do with Cobra Kai. So
still sounds like an interesting story though.
yeah, definitely.
This is something that maybe Cobra Kai need to try and do rather than, like have one of the kids teach an adult karate rather than just fighting with each other all the time.
Yes.
Get it? Oh, are we upset with each other again? Which side's Robbie on now?
Yeah.
That's just Cobra Kai for 17 seasons, isn't it?
Yes,
Oh, he's changed
essentially.
again. Oh, he's back to where he was before. God, everybody goes round in circles
Round and
on this
round and
stupid
round.
karate show.
Yes. Yes. And so
Everybody.
this fifth season felt a very much like kind of the thing happening that you kind of said was gonna happen. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
sixth
We'll get into that
sixth
once we
season's coming, and if they don't put Hilary Swank in it, then
I
oh
know.
my
I'm
God,
like,
there's gonna be a
put
seventh.
Hillary Swank and then I'll be okay for the
And then we'll be
showing.
done. Just finish
Yes.
then.
Yes.
Everybody else has
Yes.
actually come back now.
Yes. So while I
Even,
did
even Robin
Robin
Lively.
Lively is back, yes. So
Yeah.
apparently she's kind of the one who set up Daniel and his wife.
Okay.
So they were friends who grew up together because there's that whole episode where the wife takes the kids and goes to hang out with Robin Lively.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's I like that. I like
Yes.
that. I've been pining for Robin Lively on this show
And
for
she looked
years.
great. She looked great. So yeah, and she kind of gives the wife insight on like why because she was there. She was one of the few people there in the show that can attest to the Silva
Yes,
drama.
the events of
The
part
Terry
3.
Silva, yeah, the Terry Silva drama.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course. But no,
And that Barnes guy, I think actually like beat her up. Like he kicked her and stuff. Like
we
which
don't
he
like
comes back
Mike
as well.
Barnes. Yeah.
Yes, well, I mean he they do some Mike Barnes redemption things in this season. So
Well, they try that with everybody, don't they?
yeah, they kind of
Apart
do.
from
But
Terry.
yes. But yeah, so definitely an intriguing premise, and I'm curious to get more info on it and see if that's actually going to be the real plot of what this movie's going to be about.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yes. And then we got some more Disney Plus Star Wars content
Oh
with
yes. Well,
the
let's
Andor series.
yes.
They
Couple of
released the first three
couple
episodes of Andor.
couple of reviews now for to kind of finish up our what's up, I suppose. So maybe
Yes.
a bit more slightly lengthier discussions on these than we've
Yes.
had on the rest of it, I think, because I think these two things deserve almost full reviews. Maybe no heavy spoilers or anything like that, but like you say, the first 3 episodes of Star Wars Andor have now come
Dropped.
out. I think are they Wednesdays? Is it Wednesdays
I
they're
think it's
coming
gonna be
out?
Wednesdays, yes.
So there's another show that we all have to watch alongside
Yeah.
She-Hulk, Rings of Power, and House of the Dragon.
So much, so much. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of content. But yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it. I was never the hugest Star Wars fan, but all of kind of, Force Awakens awakened an interest in me in Star Wars to kind of
The Force was awakened
it
within
literally
Jeannine.
was because, it made me kind of want to go back and really invest in the older films, which I had seen, but I just
Yeah.
hadn't seen them a lot or really kind of took the time to understand the universe that much. So
Well,
The Force
well.
Awakens made me want to kind of go back, and so I got into them a little bit more from that. And so while I'm definitely not very knowledgeable with my Star Wars, I've loved The Mandalorian, I've loved Book of Boba Fett, and all the kind of the content we've got since then. I really did enjoy Rogue One, and I liked that character casting Andor. So,
Yeah.
um,
I am
uh,
simply interested to see if you're um, somewhat recently, since at least the sequel trilogy began, um, whether your newfound knowledge of Star Wars will become fruitful in our game that we have
uh,
later on,
Probably not.
as we have a
Probably
Star
not.
Wars game later
I
on.
will. I will definitely be failing that for sure.
Do you all remember when we had that MCU casting game? The quickfire? We're doing it with Star Wars today. It's going to be great. Stick around for the end of the show
Yeah, I'm
for
gonna
that
lose,
one.
so it's gonna be fun.
Jeannine might
Um,
not lose. You could pick anybody. You could have picked anybody.
well, I made mine get a little bit more difficult as you go along, so we're gonna have 3 rounds
So did I.
of rapid fire questions of who plays who. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. Stick around. That's probably in about an hour's time.
Yes.
So, yeah,
Yes. Do
exciting.
better than
Andor,
me in
though,
the
yes.
comments. Yes. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed the show. I think it definitely didn't really grab me until the 3rd episode. Um, it's kind of just a really kind of a bit of a slow burn, a bit of a build up, um, and just kind
It's a
of getting to
welcome
know.
difference, I think.
Yeah, and I really liked his character and kind of seeing where he's starting off, and even just knowing what his initial mission is. He's trying to find his sister. So
Yeah.
that is already kind of like getting you intrigued. And I think there's a lot of kind of speculation and theories like, okay, he's on this big mission to find his sister. We get to see the backstory of that. He kind of pretty much abandoned her in a lot of ways. And so
Yeah.
now when he finds her, she's going to be some kind of big wig on the dark side, is kind of the theory that people are,
Well,
playing
quite
with.
possibly,
Yeah.
quite possibly. We obviously know where Cassian Andor ends up because we met him in Rogue One and he died at the end of Rogue One.
Yes.
Like most everybody in fact, every major cast member of Rogue One
Died.
ended up
Yes.
dead. That was the whole point. But no, he was a very, very interesting character in Rogue One anyway. He clearly had and always had a past to him that would be interesting to explore, and now we're actually
Getting
well,
into
we're
it.
getting into it. And like you said, it's a slow burn, but it's a welcome difference in, I think, pace and tone for Star Wars. Because I suppose Mandalorian at times has been quite plodding. I think that's a positive about Mandalorian. Sometimes I think it's nice to just wander around and go to different places and do something there that maybe doesn't seem overly hugely relevant to massive the massive storyline of the season or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So I never mind that. I think with something like this though, because it's quite a focused show, the Mandalorian still has a big scale tone to it,
Yeah.
even though it is about just just Mando and Grogu. It's still you're still now certainly now you are dealing with your major top tier Star Wars characters, and they are
Yes.
heavily involved with the big dogs.
Yeah.
Whereas, this Cassian Andor story, Cassian Andor was a fascinating character in Rogue One. Rogue One is a great movie. But it's a very, very, this
Kind
is
of
just
small
him and
world,
his
intimate kind
own,
of problem in his
very
intimate kind of
intimate,
journey. Yeah.
very grounded.
Yes.
I wouldn't call it dark. It's no like darker than other things we've seen from some things in Star Wars. but it's very much more grounded. I
Yes,
think
and I
it's
think
the
it's
most
building.
grounded Star Wars thing we've
Yes.
seen.
And I think it's building to him becoming this revolutionary. So,
Yeah,
I'm curious to see what instills that in him that will kind of draw him away from, if not like put a pin in this mission to find his sister, in order to kind of have this bigger picture ideal of helping, and doing good, and putting kind of his own personal things aside for the greater good, for the picture. So for the bigger picture. So that's where the third episode kind of leaves us off. And I think that's what got me the most excited, because it's like, okay, now
yeah,
we're kicking off to how this person becomes the person we met in Rogue One, and him getting on that path. And so I'm really kind of curious to see how that the next couple episodes are going to build that within him and make him that person.
yeah.
Um,
There's 2 seasons. There's going to be 2 seasons of it, and I think by the end of that second season, we'll basically be at the start of Rogue One. I'm
yes,
led to
and
believe. So
yes, and Diego Luna, he did announce at D23 that he was one of the producers on the show. So he was really excited to have the opportunity to be involved in that way. And he kind of talks about it as like 24 um, movies basically that he got to make,
okay,
you know.
okay.
So every episode he's taking it like a piece of film.
I mean, you
So
can't fault Diego
and it
Luna
did feel,
as Cassian.
yes. Yes, I love that, like, Hispanic Latino men are kind of taking over Star Wars with, Poe Dameron, and now
They really have been.
Pedro Pascal, and now Diego Luna. So,
They really, really have been.
really kind of getting these standout iconic characters. So,
Even
yeah, I'm
though
loving
Poe
it.
Dameron still has the stupidest line in Star Wars history, unfortunately, doesn't he?
Well, what?
Kind of does, though. Look,
What?
you say whatever you want about some of the lines in the prequels, there ain't no stupider line than somehow Palpatine has returned.
Yeah, that
It's a
explains it all.
stupid line.
That's all we need to know.
Idiocy. Idiocy from The Rise of Skywalker. But, oh God, if I start talking about things like that, I'm going to get abused on the internet, aren't I? Obviously, because this is why I distance myself from Star Wars. And I think that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, and that may be why I've enjoyed these first 3 episodes. Like you said, I felt much more into it after the third episode. But I admittedly I find it hard to get as excited about Star Wars as I once did, and this is simply a fandom issue.
Yes.
It is got nothing to do with the actual quality of product. Well, I do think The Rise of Skywalker was a pretty feeble attempt at retroactively making a sequel to
Yeah, they really dropped
what
the
it was
ball on
all
a lot of
supposed to
things.
be, but that's simply poor planning. Poor planning for that trilogy, and that's been and gone now, and it is what it is. The fact of the matter is, what's come since then, i.e., Mandalorian-based content,
Yes.
Mandalorian-based television shows / Book of Boba Fett, has kind of been great.
Yeah. So
Absolutely
we definitely
great.
have been very
Stick
blessed
to
with
TV.
new.
Keep sticking to TV, Star
Yes, because
Wars.
you're really telling some rich stories, and creating some really uh wonderful characters that we want to see more of, and that we're really invested in their stories. So I'm really liking who's involved. It's people who really care about like the franchise, who care about Star Wars, who've grown up on it, who know it well. Dave Filoni
Yeah,
kind of having his hand in all of this is really great, because you kind of really trust him at this point. So yeah, I'm really enjoying the show so far. I think the third episode definitely was what really sealed me really enjoying it. I did enjoy the first 2 episodes, but it was kind of that slow burn, that slow build, and then the third episode really got me excited about what's to come next. So,
yeah.
um,
Like I say, you can't fault Diego Luna as Cassian. It's fun to see Stellan Skarsgård, who looks so like he belongs in Star Wars, finally in
I
Star
know
Wars.
it's like it's surprised to think that, like, you just feel like he maybe was always there. And then his just great pronunciation of Cassian Andor
And
Andor.
the Swedish comes out there
Yes, it
from
comes out very
Spellen.
much. Yes.
That's not how you
Um,
pronounce it. It's Andor.
Andor Andor. So yes, I'm liking him in this show, and I think he's going to be kind of the guy that really gets him on this track to being this revolutionary type.
Yes.
So yeah,
The famous rebel, or
yes,
the very significant rebel that may not go down in history because, how Star Wars works. These guys are never mentioned in the original trilogy, are they? It's just, oh, they've stole the Death Star plans. Who were they? Who were they? At least we now know who they were,
hmm
you know.
show
Not
them
that
some
not that
respect.
not that Luke Skywalker and Leia ever cared
Yeah,
who
right.
Cassian Andor was. They should
No,
have.
they should
They
have
should
very
have
much
done.
so.
Well, let's not forget. I suppose we were talking about Star Wars TV as well. Let's not forget how good Kenobi was.
Yes, I really
It's a
liked
really
Obi-Wan as
good
well.
show. Really
Yes.
good show.
And just a
Um,
shout out to my man, Tony Gilroy, for creating this show and writing this show, because Tony Gilroy holds a special place in my heart because he also wrote my all-time favorite movie. That's right, The Cutting Edge from 1992. You know I'm gonna
yes,
bring that up every chance I
yes.
get.
Well, I'll give a shout out to Aunt Petunia Fiona Shaw then,
Yes,
who
yes, it was good to see her.
may look. She's aged since Harry Potter, sure, she
Yeah.
has, obviously. Kind of
But I
shows,
mean, I
but
wonder if they did actually maybe age her up a little bit
well,
as
they
well
probably did.
because I mean, they
Yes,
did have that flashback where they had to have her look younger and
it's
then
true.
so they could have potentially aged her up.
I
So
would like to think. I would like to think they had, but I know she's not young.
no,
She's
Harry
not a
Potter,
young woman.
despite like how it feels, Harry Potter was quite a long time ago.
Yeah, Harry Potter's over
Like
20
over
years
20
old
years
now
old. Yes, yes.
as a
It's
movie.
celebrating an anniversary when I was at the movies the other day. Like they're actually doing re-screenings of the original films. So uh
Okay, I like
yes.
that. But yeah, look, I I've liked seeing her in this. She's playing this really very, very strong-willed,
Motherly
um,
figure to
yeah,
Cassian. Yeah.
protector of Cassian.
Yes. And
And
also just a pillar of the community that like when these kind of police kind of type guys are harassing her and searching for Cassian at their home,
yeah,
kind of everyone in the community is coming forward like, "What are you doing? Leave her alone. She's just an old woman," like trying to defend her and protect her. And even though we've kind of seen Cassian use people and be, and not really respect people's wishes and kind of being, doing his own thing to the chagrin of people around him, he's part of her family. So people still
yeah,
end up protecting him in the end in that 3rd episode and
yeah,
looking out for him, and we see he did get his last name Andor from her. So
yes.
yes, she's great as this
His
kind of
original
motherly
name,
figure.
Casa. His
Yes.
original name is just Casa, and he doesn't speak what you would consider. Is it called the common tongue? No, that's Song of Ice and Fire. That's what they refer to
So,
English
yeah, I
as in
don't
the Song
know,
of Ice and
he's
Fire. What's
from
it
what,
called?
Canary is where he's said to be from, so I don't know if that's like a but I think it's very much a made up language that they didn't really share with anybody else, so, like, they asked Fiona Shaw if she knew or if they were, like, kind of trying to let her know, give her an outline of, like, what he was saying with that language, and she was like, "No, they didn't tell me anything," so it was very much only that's why they didn't put subtitles on it, they very
Yeah,
much wanted it to be their language, their conversation, and just their actions and kind of what's happening around them tell the story of what they're actually saying.
yeah. No, I get that. All I'm trying to figure out is what Star Wars refers to English as.
Oh, yeah, call like a common tongue or
Because A Song of Ice and Fire, it's the common tongue. I think in Tolkien, it's common speech,
yeah.
but I can't remember what Star Wars calls it. Basic. It calls it basic. Star
Uh,
Wars refers to English as basic. Do you
basic,
speak
okay.
basic?
Okay.
That's what it refers to it as.
Yeah,
I
you're definitely
remembered
beating me
things.
in this game.
I
So
remembered things.
um,
Um, yes, Andor. Good start.
yes, good.
Excited to see more.
Definitely, definitely. And just our final review before we get into our Stephen King celebration in our Let's Talk. A little
Big
review
release
here.
of the week.
Yes, Don't Worry, Darling, movie
Oh, wow.
surrounded by so much drama, but definitely did not take away from my anticipation of wanting to see this film. I really loved Booksmart, and Olivia Wilde definitely has a certain style and uh, kind of way of speaking, a great perspective through her films. So, despite what you may think of her on a personal level, as a filmmaker, she has some interesting things she wants to put across and say and show,
Absolutely,
I
she
I
does.
appreciate that
Uh,
as an artist in my own right, in my own sphere and medium. I appreciate kind of the artistic view of other people who
Despite what may
dabble in the
suppose
arts.
yes,
So,
despite what may supposedly come out about Olivia Wilde's,
as a human
directing
person.
techniques,
Yes. So,
or
um,
should we say, uh, man management techniques, which
yeah.
don't appear to exist very well,
Yes.
or heavily rely on favoritism, whatever it
Maybe,
may be.
perhaps.
Who's to
So,
say? Who's to say what actually happened? What I can say is that I think "Don't Worry, Darling" will be remembered for its off-screen supposed drama and issues in years to come. I mean, in years to come, I think it will be remembered for that. People will then look back on it, watch it, and realize it's actually a pretty damn good movie as well.
yes, I really enjoyed it. I mean, just like your sign says behind you, like Florence
Yes,
Pugh
Florence Pugh,
is
Heart.
the beating heart of this movie. She carries this whole movie on her back and drives the plot, and we're really kind of with her through the whole thing. Um,
I don't necessarily want to give a spoiler review here either, because I think it benefits from blind viewing. I viewed it very blind. I remember watching a trailer a while ago. I think we talked about it on this show. Um, I couldn't remember a great deal about that trailer. I remembered it had a little bit of a sinister edge to it. Hadn't got a clue of the story of it, and really found myself getting completely into this movie. I think it's quite a bold movie. I think it's not a perfect movie in terms of, say, pacing or structure or things
and
like that.
even
There's at
execution.
times,
Yeah, even execution and the reveal of the finale, I think could have been handled a little bit better and a little bit cleaner.
but
Um,
as an idea and as a concept and as a story, I think it's really really interesting. I think it's
yeah.
great and like I said, bold to present this in this way. I think
Yeah.
it is directed by Olivia Wilde quite well. I think it looks beautiful.
Yeah, using this really gorgeous 50s aesthetic to tell this story and, these kind of pastel sherbet colored homes and all the different kind of colored cars all driving off at the same
Yeah.
time. And this very kind of, uh, I'm trying to like, I almost used a film comparison that might give too much away. So I had to stop myself. Um,
Well, I think the movie's full of what I really noticed about it is that it's full of controlled structure
yes,
in its
it's
imagery.
imagery.
It's
Yes.
full of very defined um designs and things like that. Like you get snippets of quite Busby Berkeley kaleidoscopic dancing and things like this. That it looks like it's from Gold Diggers
Yeah,
in
you get
1933, and I loved it.
Yeah, you get some
Um,
very kind of strange yet artistic imagery that kind of just pops in as if it's like a kind of deja vu thought that somebody's having in the back of their mind, only to snap back into this kind of perfect place. So it's like there's very
yeah,
much
you
push
do.
and pull of just weird imagery and then this kind of bubblegum pop imagery. Um, and yeah, there's definitely moments of feeling very claustrophobic and uh, feeling very trapped, but also open. It's like the juxtaposition and this kind of oxymoron. This movie is a whole walking oxymoron potentially
It's
of themes and concepts and feelings. And
similar to Nope in that way.
yeah,
Nope very much had the fear of open spaces and being trapped by open spaces, and this is kind of similar because it is big and everything in the world of Don't Worry Darling is quite big. It's spacious. There's
Yeah.
a lot of room to move, yet there is a sense of being trapped. There is a sense of that claustrophobia that you spoke about. And like, like I said there, it's full of imagery, whether it's in these little symbolic snippets or whether it's in the actual production design of very strictly designed, controlled things.
Yes.
And there's certain characters, that Gemma Chan's character talks about symmetry being perfect and everyone working as one and things like this. And it's all very, we are one, there's control, and it's, I really liked that, and I noticed it an awful lot. I think it was very clever to keep peppering that in there and not beating me over the head with it, but just using those Busby Berkeley style dancing little snippet
Yeah.
sequences to pull out this controlled nature of this movie. I really found interesting. But like you said, it lives and dies with Florence Pugh.
Yeah, she's amazing in this movie. But one thing I will kind of criticize a little bit as well is like there are some really great scenes where they seem to set up this kind of um, this tug of war in terms of power and balance and challenge between Chris Pine and Florence Pugh, and that
Yeah.
doesn't deliver as much as the buildup makes you think it will.
A
So
fair point.
moments like
Yeah.
that were a little bit disappointing because there's kind of this whole scene where she's very much challenging him, and to the point where she kind of forces herself to sit across from him so that she can kind of have this challenge
Stare
with
him
him.
out.
Yes, only for it to kind of fizzle out. So and there was kind of a build up conversation before that that really was like, oh, okay, it's on now, and then it doesn't really, you know, go the
Uh,
way you expect it to, or it kind of, like I said, fizzles out this kind of big challenge thing that is set up. So and I liked their energy together and their kind of
yeah.
back and forth and their kind of questioning each other dynamic, and I
Chris,
wanted more of it. So the
Chris
fact that
Pine
like it kind
is
of
kind of good at seemingly pleasant, but perhaps with a sinister edge.
yeah, he
Chris
has this
Pine
very much
is quite good at
sinister
that.
charm to how he could definitely pull you in and intrigue you and excite you and attract you, but
Yeah.
there's this underlying mistrust there that, you just let yourself fight against and not admit to yourself that is there.
Does that idea of the, say, the challenging that Florence Pugh does to Chris Pine fizzling out, is that not in a way again just furthering the kind of idea of this movie though? Like the her challenges don't matter
Yeah,
because
and this kind of
there's just,
control aspect. I mean, yeah, it's definitely giving me it gave me vibes of so many different movies.
it's
You
weirdly
know,
sci-fi. It's
yes, it's giving me like Stepford Wives meets Truman Show meets Pleasantville a little bit too, just like, trying to figure out this world
yeah,
that you're
meets.
in and something just doesn't seem right. And
If you've
this,
seen it, you'll understand what I mean by this as well. And I really don't want to give particular spoilers away, but think about it in a sense of even a Matrix.
yes, it's like you're in this world and everyone's telling you it's fine, but you don't feel like it's fine. But there are so many things being put in your face that are trying to force you to like, no, you have all of these great things at your
Yeah.
disposal. Why aren't you happy here? Why aren't you enjoying what you're getting? Like, it's great. Like, don't question it. And this whole
It's
kind of
very
concept of,
it's a very interesting movie, a very,
yes.
very interesting movie, and I did not think I would actually come away liking it and having myself think about it as much as I am doing and as much as I kind of want to. Um, I mean, look, from the outside as well. I adore Florence Pugh. I love Florence Pugh. I think Florence Pugh is the closest thing we have these days to an actual movie star, a young, new movie star. Because
And she's so young.
I think people will go. I think she's my age.
She's like 24, yeah.
If not a
She's like
year
24,
younger than I am.
25.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but people will go and watch a Florence Pugh movie. No matter, I think people will go and watch a movie simply because Florence Pugh is the star of that movie.
Yeah.
I believe that to be the case. I think she's just wonderful, and I think she has become that because she doesn't do that much stuff. She
No, and
picks very
she picks the
specific things
quality
she wants
things.
to do.
Yes, she picks very much quality things that she can, stretch herself and show her range, and things that she can play to really well. Like, I can't think of one bad performance from her. Even if it's a movie that I wasn't, like, a huge
No,
fan of, she was always a standout. She never dropped the ball. She wasn't ever the one dropping the ball in a movie.
she's
In
just
an
great.
ensemble, she's able to shine and stand out above others. Think of things like, Black Widow and Little Women. Um,
Yeah,
she's amazing. So
she
regardless of anything happening outside of this movie, I was going to see this movie because of her, and she did not disappoint. She definitely had to carry this whole film, and she did in spades. So, really great
100%.
performance. And I mean, people were kind of teasing Harry Styles. He was not terrible in this movie either.
I I'll be honest with you. I thought Harry Styles was quite good. We should talk about Harry Styles. I thought Harry Styles was quite good in this movie. I
Yes.
think he has definitely got a competent acting career ahead of him.
Yes.
100%. Yes, okay. They might have chose him to have his normal English accent in this movie because he couldn't do the American. But there's other people who speak with an English accent.
Yeah,
Gemma
I mean, Gemma
Chan's
Chan's in
speaking
there
with
too, speaking with her
her
British
usual
accent.
accent.
So yeah. Um,
But Florence isn't. Florence
no,
Pugh never
because
speaks in her actual
she
voice.
doesn't need to. She can handle not using the British accent. Um, but yes, definitely people kind of teasing his accent because I think they thought maybe he wasn't supposed to have his British accent, and that's kind of the clips that were making fun of him
Yeah,
were pointing out.
but no,
But
he
no, I
was.
think he did a good job in this movie, and
He
uh,
did.
yeah, and
He really did.
I
Harry
think,
Styles,
near the kind of climax of the film, he does have more to do, um,
he gets
and
to show
he han
himself more as an
yes, and
actor.
he handles himself really well, I think,
I think
in the latter part of the film where he has
I
to kind of
agree.
show that, so
I definitely agree with that. Harry
and
Styles is somebody that.
I don't know that I could picture Shia in the role now that, like,
Oh
in
no, yeah, I
thinking about
forgot it was.
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
no,
think I could picture that.
I think it's certainly the kind of first act of the movie is way too sexy for Shia.
Yes, and like, near the end, he has to be a bit more vulnerable, and Shia is very much kinda tough and kind of a loner type that I don't feel like
Yeah,
he could play this needing somebody, this vulnerability, you know?
good decision to change it then, I suppose.
Yes,
Even
whoever's
though
decision it was.
it might have caused whatever, but
Yeah. He quit
it
or no, he was fired, but no, he
who
quit, and
knows?
yeah. So, no matter how his departure came about, his departure, I think, was fine for what the film ended up being because I think Harry Styles did a really good job
He
in
did, and
portraying the very much the sexiness that he needed in the beginning and the vulnerability that he needed by the end. So,
he is someone that I've come to respect far more in recent years than I used to when he was part of that one boy band, for example.
yes.
Um, I definitely respect Harry Styles, and I like that he's been able to show himself as a reasonably competent actor as well. And look, the both every fool's in the MCU in this movie as well, aren't they? I mean,
Yeah, essentially.
Florence Pugh, Harry Styles is now, and Gemma Chan is, and Nick Kroll is. Is Nick Kroll? Does Nick Kroll voice somebody? I feel like
I
Nick
feel like
Kroll
maybe he
wants to
does
voice somebody in the
something in
MCU,
the yes.
and if
And
he doesn't, why?
why not?
Why doesn't he?
And then I think the husband of the pregnant lady, wasn't he in WandaVision? Wasn't he one of the neighbors
Possibly,
in
possibly.
WandaVision?
But no, it's a good movie. I actually pleasantly surprised at
Yes.
how good it was. It is better than the drama surrounding it, and
Yes.
I think deserves to be remembered more for actually being a boldly told story than a dramatic off-screen debacle.
Yeah, debacle.
I would say. But yes,
Yes.
don't worry, darling. We won't worry. We won't worry, darling. Who's darling? Which one of them's darling? They never say "don't worry, darling" to either of them in this
Well, I
movie. I
would
was
think it's
quite
it's it's
disappointed.
probably directed to Florence Pugh, telling her, "Don't
I would
worry,
think so,
everything's gonna be
yes, but
fine."
he never says
Um,
it, does he?
yes, but great, great movie. Despite the drama, like, please don't let that overshadow
No,
going to see this movie.
definitely not. Well, Jeannine, let's
Yes.
move into a little bit of a let's talk. As we,
Yes.
like I said, celebrate the 75th birthday of Stephen King, we have a few of our favourite Stephen King adaptations. We want to just tell you why they are that. Why they are some of our favourites. Why they are great, great movies. We each have 3 each, I think, Jeannine, that we want
Yeah.
to bring up today. Um, Stephen King. What does Stephen King mean to you, Jeannine?
I mean, obviously, he's a huge icon in terms of horror, but he also tells really kind of human stories. And I think he talks about things that are really kind of real and relatable. And then he adds kind of a supernatural element over the top of it. So while the supernatural aspect of a lot of his stories are things that like can't really happen or don't really happen, because it's the base of it is a real human relatable story, and you really care about the characters that he portrays.
Yeah,
And then you get a director with a clear vision who can kind of bring that to life, and you're set with a really solid adaptation. So
absolutely,
my
absolutely.
favorite Stephen King adaptations are films that really are based in that reality and really create some really interesting characters that you end up kind of caring about. So there were a
Yeah.
lot, but
There's an awful lot.
yes.
Admittedly, as well, as much as I would like to celebrate Stephen King's 75th birthday and feel like we should because of the, you know, quality of his work and the quality of adaptations of his work, I've never read a single book of Stephen King's,
No, me neither. Me neither.
which is wrong,
I
and I should
know.
do. I should at
There's just so
least
many.
read.
Every book has a movie adaptation, whether it be a TV
They do.
movie or
They do. But I really should at least read, I think, Carrie and The Shining. I think
yeah.
those are the two above the rest for me
Well,
that I
one of
should read.
yes. Well, one of them, Shawshank Redemption, actually apparently has a different ending than the book, which kind of just changes the whole kind of viewpoint of it.
Yeah, it's
Um,
only a short, that though, isn't it, as well? It's only a
yes, well,
short story or a
yes,
novella.
which I'll get into, that kind of twist on the ending. I don't know how true that is, but I think I saw something recently that talked about the real ending in the actual book. But
Okay. Well,
um,
yes. Would you like to start with one of your choices then, or
yes, so one of my choices is The Shawshank Redemption. I
yes?
remember watching this movie when I was like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
Um, with my mom. My mom was go travel nursing, or she was going to school to become a nurse, and she was going to school in San Diego. So she would drive back and forth, take some of her classes, be there for the week, and then come home on the weekends. And it was this crazy time where she was just trying to, So she would take me with her some weekends, and I would stay with her. And one night we just stayed up and watched, and that was kind of a thing my mom always did with us when we were little, was just sit down and watch movies with us. And I remember watching Shawshank Redemption with her and just really, at 12 or 13, like, that's not the things like a 12 or 13-year-old are watching, but I remember being
No.
so into it and so invested in the stories and the character and like the little kind of stories that were happening through his years in the prison and loving just Morgan Freeman's soothing voice, just narrating the story, just being very calming in such a chaotic kind of situation that was happening. And and then just kind of the redemptive rain moment with his hands spread out, and just the release of that. And you know I just felt every beat that the movie wanted you to feel. I thought it looked beautiful, and yeah, I felt so many emotions watching this movie at 12 or 13 that it surprised me. And
Yeah,
anytime that movie is on in passing, like, I'll be cleaning and it's just on, and I'll just stop what I'm doing and just sit and watch it because, you know, it's
it
great.
it might be stereotypical to say, I suppose, but you can't deny it is a flawlessly put together movie.
Yes. And it's just funny that there's so many movies you can say are before their time and then kind of get discovered and get this cult status later. Something like a Scott Pilgrim versus the World, or Last Action Hero, movies that like are dealing with these really kind of higher concepts, or interesting things that people just didn't really care about at the time, but now are seeing it as this cool kind of thing that was before its time. Shawshank kind of had a similar thing. Like, people did not go out and see this movie. Like, it did not perform well. Um, it got passed over in terms of Oscar stuff. Um,
Yeah,
and then later now people discovered it, and now it's like on every kind of top something movie list,
yeah,
and being lauded as this great thing. And just the thing I kind of alluded to that I had heard fairly recently was that the ending, you find out that Andy really did kill his wife and her lover,
yeah,
and then he gets away, and so it kind of just changes your whole kind of view. Like, you still kind of like, because obviously, in some aspects you feel like, okay, maybe they had it coming, maybe they deserved it, whatever. But the movie plays that he's a completely innocent man who got put in this terrible situation and wasn't believed. But then when you find out, no, he really did do it and just got away with it, he, or not got away with it, he, was able to become free. Um, it totally kind of shifts your thought of how you see him a little bit. So it was definitely kind of a weird thing seeing. And like, then I kind of thought to myself, would I have wanted that to be portrayed in the movie? Um,
I think the movie is such a ridiculously warm story of
mhm.
friendship. The ending is, I mean, it's been parodied to death, but when something gets parodied to death, it's because it's great. It's because it is the perfect example of doing whatever you are parodying,
Yeah.
and it is kind of the perfect example of everything it does. You can't you can't fault that movie.
And can
Um,
we talk about, okay, just in the terms of what is happening right now with The Little Mermaid, right?
yes,
Just to throw that out there. Um, it never occurs to anybody that Halle Bailey was just the right person for the role. Black, white, whatever. She was the right person, right age, young girl playing a 16-year-old, uh, you know, um, wide-eyed, beautiful voice, can act. We can make her hair red, whether it's dreadlocks or whatever.
yeah,
Yes. Nobody ever considers that maybe it had nothing to do with her skin tone. It was just that she was right for the characterization of what Ariel embodies, right?
yeah,
Go back to this film. Red is like described as a red-headed Irishman guy in the book, I believe, right?
yeah.
And he's played by Morgan Freeman. And the fact that they even still keep that line in there and it becomes this joke thing. Why
Why
do they
you
call you
called
Red?
red? Yeah,
Maybe it's because I'm Irish. And it's just so comedic and funny, and nobody bats an eyelash. Nobody cares. Nobody is saying, "Well, in the book, he was white man. He was an Irishman. All of this thing." Da 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 da. Da. Nobody bats an eyelash to that race swap of a character because Morgan Freeman just
nails it.
embodied the character and nails it and does a good job. And he was
Yeah,
just the best person for that role. Nobody said a thing. And it was easy for
I
people to
don't know what
consider.
to yeah, I don't
It
know
was
what to say.
easy for
It's
people
very
to
true.
just consider that he was the best man for the role, and without even
You
batting
know
an eyelash
why?
about
You know
it.
why, don't you, though? You know why? Probably did exist back
And
then.
this
It's
was in
just
the
Twitter
'90s,
didn't
so I'm just
exist.
like,
It's just
so
Twitter
yes,
didn't exist. That's
yeah,
why. That's
that
why
is
you
true.
don't hear.
Who knows how many angry letters Stephen King got,
Probably what?
Frank
Probably
Darabont
was.
got.
Probably
Um,
was.
but no one. But even in kind of these, everyone is having this argument about Ariel and throwing all these examples. This example never comes up as
Yeah.
an
Because
argument towards any of
I mean,
that.
probably because most people don't know, but you are right. You are right.
Yes.
Oh, you are absolutely right.
He is so great as this character. The narration, like I said, just so calming because this is such a chaotic world that you're in, and
Yeah.
his calming presence, his friendship with Andy is so great. Even him just talking about, I just want to see my friend again, like that, just like always gets me every time. And
Whenever people do a Morgan Freeman impression, they're always doing lines from this.
yes, yes. Like even when he was on Graham Norton, like he did a version of this. They played the music and he like gave this speech, but like in relating it to like the guest that he was on the couch with and Graham Norton. And it was hilarious. This kind of
Ridiculous.
sealed his fate as the narration guy and
It
that
did.
voice.
It did.
So yes, despite of what he looked like in the book, like he or in the story, he Morgan Freeman, I can't picture anyone else playing that role. He embodied that character wholeheartedly. His chemistry with uh Tim Robbins was great. And yeah, just iconic movie, great storytelling. You really care about this character. The warden just makes such an epic villain. And you really are ingratiated in this world, and you forget that these people are like criminals. Like you actually
Yeah.
just come to care about them for who they are in this world and what they try to do, and the relationships he builds and the things he does in his time in the prison. He's still trying to better other people's lives, better the prison, build this library. Like, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
And then
something is
all for it to build to a good ending for him as well. It's just,
yes, yeah.
yes.
Something I obviously care about more than most people when it comes to that movie as well is that I believe the poster in the book is actually the poster of Rita Hayworth from Gilda, and because I think it's called Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption, the actual story.
Oh, yes.
So rather than it being Raquel Welch in, the
Yeah.
the mammoth
What
bikini
say
or whatever
you,
it is,
fuzzy britches?
yeah, I actually think it's the poster of
Yeah.
Rita Hayworth
Rita
in Gilda.
Hayworth. Yeah.
Just to old movie The Shawshank Redemption up for my benefit.
Yes.
But no, it's a wonderful movie. Of course, it's a wonderful movie. I mean, one of mine that I wanted to bring up is actually again another non-horror Stephen King movie, because Stand By Me is one
Yes.
of
That's a
my
good one.
favorite Stephen King movies. I think it is a fantastic story of friendship, of the kind of struggles of young masculinity as well. I
Yeah.
remember studying this movie in film class in college and really delving into. We actually studied it alongside Juno
Oh,
as
interesting.
a, a,
Like
a
a coming of age
commentary.
type thing?
Yes, as a commentary on coming of age and the American dream, male and female.
Oh, okay,
And this
interesting.
is, yeah, because there's so much in Stand By Me that's kind of full of what, the four guys think they should be as, men that are growing older. They get bullied by, Kiefer Sutherland and his band of maniacs. They are very insecure in themselves. You get the little bit of narration in Stand By Me as well,
I mean,
That's
who wins the narration wars, Richard Dreyfuss or Morgan
I
Freeman?
mean, Morgan Freeman does, doesn't
I
he?
know.
But
He does.
you get it in Stand By Me. It is a beautiful story and a terribly sad story,
Yes.
of just the kind of falling apart of childhood friendship and the way that I think Will Wheaton in particular is really looked down upon by his own family, especially his dad.
Yes.
His dad's just horrendous to him.
And so, like, and then in losing his brother, the one person who actually understood him and took the
Yeah,
time to get to know him is even more difficult. And then going to see this dead body just kind of facing kind of that death in his life as well on another level.
yeah.
And
It
just
it it's kind of the struggles of harsh reality are very in the forefront of Stand By Me, and they have
yes.
to deal with them. Even on their journey itself, they nearly die from the train. They nearly get caught by the farmer and his dogs. Or
Yeah.
is he a farmer? Or is he like a junkyard? You know what I
Junkyard
mean? That
something. Yeah, yeah.
that I don't know why I'm thinking farmer. I've been reading Lord of the Rings, and they get caught by Farmer Maggot eating all the crop.
Okay, yeah.
Um, no, but they have to deal with particularly kind of aggressive situations constantly.
And this
Um,
aggressive push into growing up, you
a
know,
very aggressive,
and having to
quick.
kind of be ready
You've
for
got to
that.
grow up
Yeah.
now. You've got to
Mhm.
quickly grow up, deal with all these harsh realities of life. We're not ready for that yet.
Yeah.
We need to still be
In
together.
time, yeah.
We need to still be just us as
This
children, as
urgency,
friends.
this urgency that you feel like this is gonna all be over, and so we have to, we have to enjoy it now, we have to celebrate it now, we have to
Yeah,
remember, we have to do something to help us remember what this feels like because it feels like it's gonna be over in a second, you
yeah,
know?
because you don't know what's gonna come, and that's what makes it quite terribly sad with the
Yeah.
narration at the beginning, and particularly at the end when um is it River Phoenix's character that actually dies in the movie? That's said to have died. Somebody
I think
dies.
so, yeah. I think so. I haven't seen it
Um,
in a while.
but it just makes it sad because it's full of regret. That
Yeah.
narration is full of regret, and it makes you pine for simple childhood friendships, but realize how bad it is that people forced it out of you.
Yeah,
That the
the world
world the
the world
world
beats out
forced
this
it out of you.
yeah, and this world beats this idealistic view that you have about the
This is what
world
you
out
have
of
to
you.
do.
Yes, to be a
It's
grown up,
not
you can't.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not necessarily what you have to do. Stand by me and we'll get through it together.
Yeah,
You don't have to be on your own. You don't have to be the lone wolf individual.
in your
You
situation.
can be
Yeah. You can ask for help.
together.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what Stand By Me is all about. That's why I think it's a brilliant movie to illustrate
Yeah,
that, a brilliant
and
story.
just a brilliant kind of talk on, Stephen King that the first 2 movies we choose are, like, his non-horror stories.
Yeah,
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 just to kind of
great.
speak to the eclectic nature of his work. Um,
Well, I suppose let's talk a bit about horror.
yes, so you did mention it a little bit earlier. My next film is Carrie.
I mean, if
Um,
you hadn't chosen Carrie, Carrie would be at the top of my list. I love Carrie. It's so great.
yes, creepy Carrie. Looking for something. Makes me laugh every
The
time.
sound the sound effects in Carrie are so good.
That was actually Betty Buckley who did the voice of the little boy, and the little boy, I believe, is, Brian De Palma's nephew.
Brilliant.
Fell off the
But I
mic.
mean, Brian De Palma. Brian De Palma himself is such a weird director who directed such weird
Weird.
movies.
Yeah, such a weird mix of things, and so to do this movie, um, yeah, and it's always interesting to see, a female character through the eyes of a male writer, and, and what what you can take out of that and how he chooses to portray her and things like that. And so yeah, I recently watched Carrie because I just hadn't seen it in a while. Um, and yeah, I think it's definitely plays up great to the horror. It's just to the horror aspects, and it's just such a heartbreaking story. Like,
It's a through line with Stephen King is that a hell of a lot of stuff will sadden you. It will break your heart. It
yeah,
is about humans that struggle.
yes, it's just this terrible misunderstanding, and the people who do try to, like, reach out to Carrie and make her feel welcome, and it seems like it's going so well, and then when you're watching it and you're seeing things go so well for her, knowing what it's leading to,
Yeah.
it just kills you every time. Like, you see, the boy kisses her, and he actually is genuinely having a great time with her, and he genuinely likes her, and he did this thing because he actually does like her, and the teacher really excited for her to get this moment, and her kind of standing up to her mom and growing into being a woman and not being scared about that by her mom, and kind of proving her mom wrong, that no, I can be a teenage girl and do these things and nothing bad is going to happen. And you feel all of that for a brief moment until she gets on that stage, and then you remember what movie you're watching, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh no. Like, and the
But
build up to that bucket pole, I forgot
yeah,
how long that was. They were on that stage for a long ass time before that bucket gets pulled. So you're just like,
you're wallowing in the happiness
yes,
before the
yes, and you
terror
know it's
comes.
coming. No matter how many times you've seen this movie and you know that's coming, you still hope that something happens that it doesn't go that way. Like, you still
Yeah.
always hope that this bucket does not fall on her because this girl deserves this moment. And the people who do care about her genuinely care about her. And the fact that, like, she is so filled with rage by that point that she's been scorned and burned and treated like shit for so long that even, like, the nice teacher that really cared about her
She
meets her
doesn't care at
demise.
this point.
Yeah, she doesn't care that
She is
he
a
crushes her,
being
and yeah.
of pure trauma rage at this point.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, that I mean, the prom scene in Carrie is
It's so
so
iconic, how it's shot, how it
unbelievable.
looks.
The split screen.
Yes.
Nobody does doing split screen comes across as ridiculously weird looking apart from in Carrie when it
Yes,
just
it
looks
works.
it works so perfectly
Yeah.
in that prom scene.
And just the
But you
coloring
are
of the
right.
lights, and the way that she turns the lights red, and so it's just kind of everything looks, she's drenched in blood, but everything feels just drenched in blood, symbolizing the, impending death that everyone is facing, just because, like, the way she just looks at the lights and you see them all switch to red, and the
Yeah.
red glow on her face, and, yeah, just so intense, and just and also just kind of empowering in that moment as well. Yes, it's awful, but also just kind of her kind of taking her power back in a way in that moment.
And that's the thing with that final blast of Carrie,
Yeah,
is that you've been watching traumatic experience, bullying, just pushed around for
yeah,
the rest of the movie. Shred of happiness. A scene of seeming real happiness, but you know what's going on because you've been watching the subplot that's going on.
yeah.
The bucket gets pulled, and then it's just a release at that point. It's it's
A release of everything.
horrifying to
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
horrifying to watch, but it is actually the most positive thing that Carrie could have
Yeah, it's
done because
cathartic.
it's incredibly cathartic. She's
Yeah.
getting back on all these horrendous people that wronged her. The sad thing is, she also ends up killing the people that were actually nice to her because she, at this point, like I said, is just a being of pure trauma rage.
Yes, and also just kind of dumb that that guy died, but with a bucket hitting him.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Very
But
silly.
not everybody
Um,
that burns to death and gets thrown
no,
into
but
the
also
wall and things.
Piper Laurie, kind of this 15-year, she the last time we had seen her on screen, she, I think, had won an Oscar or was nominated for an Oscar. She took a
She
15
won for The Hustler in
Yes.
'61.
She took a 15-year break, came back for this movie, and then got nominated. So to come back and do this performance, and then I'm watching in the scene where she's kind of describing how sinful the moment like Carrie was conceived was,
Yeah.
and the way she's conveying that, like, just so intense.
Stephen King
Great performance from her.
doesn't like religion. Have you noticed?
No, he doesn't. It's always to
Have you
this
noticed?
extreme. Yes. Um, so yeah, great performance from Piper Laurie as well. Loved Betty Buckley here as this teacher. Although I don't know how much she could get away with just slapping students.
Kind of funny. 70s, it's the 70s.
Yeah, she literally like beat the crap out of that girl. who
Sometimes
actually
I
is who actually is, I don't know if she still is married to Brian De Palma, the mean girl in this movie,
okay.
who is from RoboCop. She
I mean, I
yeah.
didn't go to school in the 70s, obviously, but
Yes, but
sometimes
she slapped her so
I,
hard, and she did it for real apparently, like, a bunch of times. Yeah.
you can watch movies from the 70s that if they've got school or classroom settings, and sometimes the teacher will throw like chalkboard rubbers or chalkboard, erasers,
At you.
whack them at students. They're like big wooden blocks that they
Oh
just
my god.
whack at people.
Oh my gosh.
It's kind of hilarious, but it's obviously not hilarious to realize that this is what actually
Yeah.
happened.
So, yeah, Betty Buckley, and, like, it was years before I realized that she was Dr. Fletcher in the Split movies. I'm like, "Oh, that's her? Oh my
Mm.
gosh." So, yeah, another great kind of actress in her own right, Betty Buckley. So, really loved her as kind of the support, and even, when that scene where she's talking to Carrie and telling Carrie, "Well, maybe, he's asking you because he likes you. Maybe you should kinda go for it." But then even behind the scenes, she's still looking out for her and, like, pulling them aside and, like, "What are your motives? Why did he ask her to the prom? What's
Yeah.
going on? Don't mess with this girl," like, and punishing the whole class for how they treated her, and just the way she was just looking out for her was just so sweet, and yeah, I
Well,
really like Betty Buckley in this movie as well.
let's not forget as well that Carrie has perhaps the best jump scare in any horror movie,
Yes,
which is the hand coming out of the ground at the
which
end.
is also what I think Friday the 13th was trying to do as well. Um,
Yes, that look, Carrie. Yes, okay, Friday the 13th. It's a pretty damn good jump scare. I don't think it's as good as the one in Carrie. I think the one in Carrie's
no,
timed
it's not,
way
but that's
better.
like but Friday the 13th has clearly admitted that they just wanted to copy Friday Nightmare on Elm Street, and then Halloween, and
Yeah,
then ended it basically the way Carrie
yeah.
did. That's they've clearly admitted that in several.
That jump scare at the end of Carrie is so perfectly timed.
Yeah.
You can just put that. It will get, if somebody hasn't watched it before, it will get them every single damn time.
Yes.
Because that was also shown in that same film class that we watched and studied Stand By Me in. And I had seen Carrie at that point, so I was like, look at
Yeah,
these
wait,
people.
and then you
They
see
haven't
people.
seen Carrie. And it literally just "Ah!"
But
every
also, I
single
think they
time.
were much more clever about it than Friday the 13th, in the fact that they didn't cut away to show that it was a dream. Like, you just kind of have to be like,
No,
"Oh my
no,
god,
it's
was this a
no,
dream? What?"
you don't
Yeah.
know. It ends.
Yeah,
It ends
yeah.
right there.
Yes.
It's a great movie. It is a great
Yes,
movie.
great horror elements, great kind of female kind of catharsis,
Definitely need to
and
finally
yeah,
read
no
Carrie.
matter how many times you see it, you still just hope that that bucket doesn't fall for her, like, it's heartbreaking.
But it does. But it
And
does.
John Travolta's there.
And John Travolta is there.
Yeah,
Terribly young John Travolta.
yes,
Frighteningly young.
yes.
I mean, another one I wanted to bring up, not that this would be a celebration of Stephen King at all, would be The Shining. And this is
Mm,
Kubrick's The Shining, just
yes.
because I think it is phenomenal. As much as famously Stephen King was unhappy with it, as much as famously Stephen King made a TV movie in 1997 to make his actual version of The Shining,
Yeah,
you cannot get away from the fact that this is, I think, how you actually should adapt somebody else's work. Because if you're going to adapt it, adapt it. Don't just copy it. Do your own thing with it. You got to give credit to Kubrick for doing his own damn thing with it.
Yes, and creating something very iconic. And I think Stephen King can look at it and say, as a film, great.
Yeah,
As my story, not so great. And I think
yeah,
that's
and I
how he
think
kind of
that's
has always
fair.
felt about it. Yeah.
Absolutely, that's fair. But it is a brilliant film. And look, Kubrick's a unlikable kind of guy anyway, isn't he? But he was an outstanding filmmaker.
Yeah.
He was not pleasant to people.
No.
He was not pleasant to people,
No.
but he was an outstanding filmmaker. But everything, again, everything that's put together, I won't waffle on about The Shining, but everything that's put together in The Shining is just pure unsettling, pure
Yes, it's such a
tension,
great build of tension and fear and confusion and yeah,
terrible
it
confusion.
builds so well. Um, it's chilling and very intense, iconic visuals. Things that you just kind of see when you close your eyes and you just know. Like even that whole scene in Ready Player One was such a fun kind of uh reimagining of all these iconic things that we know so well.
Yeah,
It was kind of fun to go back there because and those were visuals that Kubrick created based
yeah,
off of kind of
yeah.
this work. So
They were. The story. Look, the story itself is pretty haunting. It's pretty terrifying.
yeah,
It's ghosts. It's possible reincarnation. It's possible telekinesis. In the actual Shining, can you read people's minds? Can you see things that have happened? Who can see things that have happened? Is Jack a reincarnation? Is Jack just going insane? Is the hotel alive?
yeah,
What's going on? It is absolute confusion. But at the end of it, it is a guy going absolutely insane in this one place with the most perfect example of Stockholm syndrome. Lock yourself away and go completely mental.
yeah.
Um, but there's other things at
Parodied
play.
up the wazoo.
But there's
You know,
so many other things at play in The Shining. It's
yeah,
not simply some guy's on his own and he goes insane, because there's all these crazy supernatural things that are never
happening
quite
as well.
fully explained,
No, no,
but they're just presented to you, and you kind of got to figure them out. Certainly in the movie, you've kind of just got to figure them out of what's going on, and you're just weirded out by a lot of the stuff.
yeah,
But it gets under you. It won't let you forget it once you've seen it. And people in that movie are brilliant themselves. You know, we should adore Shelley Duvall for what she managed to do, being abused by Kubrick verbally all the damn
yes,
time.
yeah. She was so good in this movie. And
Jack Nicholson's obviously pretty flawless
yeah,
as he always is, playing completely unhinged people. Um, but
Scatman Carruthers.
Scatman Crothers as you know the wise
The
one.
magical Negro, as
Kind of,
they
well,
call him,
he is, isn't he? That
as
is what he
horror
is.
noir describes these type of characters.
That is what he is. He is that
Yeah,
archetype.
yes,
Um, which
but also a very big irritation of Stephen King that they killed him, but he actually lived in the book.
he
So
did, yeah. Well,
yeah,
yes, I did see that. Um, yeah, I don't think anything else can be said about The Shining. I just think The Shining is a great movie, not necessarily one to celebrate Stephen King himself with,
yes.
but a wonderful, wonderful movie.
Well, my final pick will do that and will answer all of those questions and fill all those gaps that Stephen King was missing because I am talking about Doctor Sleep. Mike Flanagan beautifully recreating so many elements of that film, connecting it so well and tying off the loose ends of things that Stephen King was not happy with. He finds a really brilliant way to bring back Scatman Carruthers' character by having him be a ghost that talks to Danny, grown up Danny. And in the end of the original book, the Overlook burns down. So he
Yeah.
ends up kind of giving Doctor Sleep, the movie, the ending of the original book. So he finds ways to work within the world that Kubrick set up while also bringing in the missing elements that Stephen King had in his book, to Stephen King's excitement, who was very kind of happy that he was able to kind of bring those elements back.
Yeah.
If you watch behind the scenes set things, he was able to beautifully recreate the whole Overlook Hotel, the casting of actors kind of giving the essence of those characters from The Shining. So well done. And yeah, it's just telling this continuation of the story. A grown-up Danny, he is just a mess. He's an alcoholic. He's lost. He's as a child, he learned how to lock up the ghosts that were haunting him after they left the Overlook. But he's still suffering a lot until he meets a young girl who also has a shine, and she needs his help. Then we have our kind of villainous band, Rose the Hat and her group,
Yeah.
who basically like suck and eat the shine from
Eat the
people to
shine.
survive. Yes.
Yes.
Um,
Like
and so they
Dementors, aren't they?
Yes, essentially. They find people with a shine, and it's how they kind of live this almost immortal lifestyle. And just a kind of tragic, scary scene of them, tying down poor Jacob Tremblay, the cutest little
Mm.
boy ever, and, taking his life on screen. And so many great horror visuals, so many artistic visuals in terms of how Rose the Hat's powers work, how the shine works. They find some really smart ways to visualize those things. The kind of relationship that develops between Danny and the young girl, Abra, I think is her name, and how they kind of team up to fight against her. Danny kind of getting his life back together after what we potentially saw him go through in Kubrick's film,
Yeah.
understandably would give you a very tough adulthood. So yeah, you're definitely setting up characters that you really care about, a really scary story, a story that takes a lot of your investment and care, and a really kind of marriage between Stephen King's book and Stanley Kubrick's film. So absolutely loved what they did with Doctor Sleep. Mike Flanagan is so intelligent. He understands horror. He understands the human element really well, and I think those are two great things to really pay attention to in a horror movie, is really the human element, so that you kind of care about your characters, and you get invested in what happens to them, and you're scared for them, and building that horror and tension, um, so that you're also kind of feeling scared as well.
Yeah.
So definitely a great marriage between the two things. I really loved Doctor Sleep. So
And look, it'll teach you way more about Shining than The Shining will.
yes, and you get a lot of insight
So,
about how it works,
yeah.
and how you kind of control it, and obviously now you get this whole group of people who want to harness it for a lengthened life and villainous purposes, and yeah.
Yes. Well, my last one, I'll only briefly mention it because I kind of want to get onto the game. I'm excited
No, you
about
just
the
want to
game.
beat me mercilessly.
I am excited about the game, but I did want to bring one up actually that well, technically isn't a Stephen King movie adaptation. The story was written by Stephen King. The book was written by Stephen King using a pseudonym. I forget what the pseudonym was now. So it is a Stephen King movie. It's The Running Man,
Oh, yes.
1987, with the best synth soundtrack ever. It's so
Directed
good.
by Paul M. Glaser, director of The Cutting Edge.
It's the
Yeah,
cutting edge show today, isn't it?
it is. It
Tony
is.
Gilroy and Paul Michael Glaser,
Yes.
who yes did direct The Running Man as well. But
So good.
this is Schwarzenegger in The Running Man, one of my favorite. It would have to be one of my favorite dystopian sci-fi movies.
Yes, we
I
did
love the
a
concept of it so
yes,
much.
we did an Arnold series on the show. We talked like the best Terminator, the best iterations of the Terminator films, and
Yeah,
we also talked about The Running Man. So yeah, that was your first time watching it when we did that discussion on
was.
Morgan Hasn't Seen, and yeah, it was great to revisit that really solid kind of dystopian action,
Well, yeah, really fun and
survive
just
till the end kind of movie. Yeah.
a fun movie, a really interesting idea for a dystopia. Having, this Running Man TV show and, almost a video game structure of
And get a real life
people.
TV host to
Yeah,
host it and make him your villain.
it's great.
Yeah.
Having to beat, the one guy and then move on to the next stage to beat the next guy, and nobody survives the Running Man,
Yes.
but here comes Arnold being
Yes.
Arnold. With just, like I said, the music's great, and it's a showcase of Stephen King as a story writer being not just well aware of how to write good human stories, not just well aware of how to write good horror stories, but bringing real, intelligent sci-fi into play as well.
Yes. Yes.
I really like The Running Man. It has been a while since I've watched it, a long while, I would have to say. Um, but I did want to mention it because you don't often think of it as a Stephen King movie, but it technically
Yeah.
is. It technically is. But yes, The Running Man. Happy birthday, Stephen King.
Happy
Many more of them.
birthday.
Many more of them to you. Many
Yes.
more of them to you. And for God's sake, I need to read Stephen King.
Yes.
Shocking, really, isn't it? Carrie, at least.
I mean,
Carrie, at
it,
least.
Pet Cemetery, also ones I really do enjoy.
Pet
So
Cemetery.
yeah.
Pet Cemetery, yeah. Pet Cemetery. Children of the
Yeah.
Corn. Yes,
Yes.
it. Yes, it. It would have to be said, Christine.
Yes. Cujo.
There's a lot. I mean, there's Cujo, The Dead
Yeah.
Zone.
Yeah.
There's loads. There's
Lots.
loads.
Yes.
There's absolutely loads. But what there is also loads of, Jeannine, is Star Wars characters. It is
Star
time.
Wars. Yes.
Yes, you sing the Spaceballs song. Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars, because that's what is
Yes.
that the Spaceballs song? Something like that, isn't it? What is it?
Yes.
We are doing a Star Wars game. I spoke about it before. A little while ago now, we did a quick fire MCU cast game. Basically, we have lists of characters. We're doing it in 3 rounds. It's quick fire, or as quick as we feasibly can do it.
Which mine's not gonna be quick.
Mine
Can we
might
skip?
not be too
Can we
high.
skip and circle back?
Yeah, well, I suppose so. Yes, okay. You can have passes. You can have passes. But we've done it in 3 rounds. So round 1 has 10 characters. Round 2 has 8 characters. Round 3 has 5 characters in increasing level of difficulty. We are naming characters, and the other one of us has to name who played that character in Star Wars. I am giving Jeannine characters from the original trilogy, the sequel trilogy, and the Mandalorian era TV shows. Jeannine is giving me characters from the prequels, Rogue One, Solo, and all the stuff before A New Hope. So, round 1, Jeannine, I think we just have to kind of go ahead, don't we?
I'm
So all
scared.
we're gonna do, we're gonna alternate it, and we're going to just simply say the character's name.
So,
And
are you going through your full 10 and then I go
No,
through
we're
my
alternating.
no?
No, we're
Okay.
alternating.
Okay. All
So,
right.
like we did with the Marvel stuff. So I will say the character, you will say the actor, and then say your first character.
Okay.
Okay? Are you ready
Okay.
for
No.
round 1?
No.
Round 1 Star Wars. Some will be easy.
Well,
Some
I
will
made
be
mine
easy.
like easier and got progressively harder with each round.
So did I.
That's kind of
Yeah,
what we
so
did
did
with the
I.
Marvel. Okay.
Yeah, so did I. Okay.
Either way, it's all going to be hard for me.
Round 1. Ray.
Daisy Ridley. Bail Organa.
Jimmy Smits. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Peter. Peter. No, I mean. Oh my god. Peter Cushing. Oh
Don't
my god.
panic, Jeannine.
Oh my gosh. Why is Peter Cushing in my brain?
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, pass.
Okay, go ahead.
Galen Erso.
Mads Mikkelsen. Lando Calrissian.
Billy D. Williams. Jango Fett.
Tamara Morrison. Chewbacca.
Peter Mayhew. Uncle Owen.
Joel Edgerton.
I almost got you, I think.
Kylo Ren.
Adam Driver. Jar Jar Binks.
Ahmed Best. Maz Kanata.
Oh, Lupita Nyong'o. Young Anakin.
Child Anakin.
Anakin.
Jake Lloyd.
Poor kid.
Grand Moff Tarkin.
Peter Cushing.
Peter Cushing. Yeah, it is Peter Cushing. That is Peter Cushing.
Count Dooku.
Christopher Lee. His best friend.
Yes.
General Hux.
General Hux. Oh, Donald Gleason.
Yes.
Orson Krennic.
Oh, was Ben Mendelsohn.
Yes.
Finn.
John Boyega. K2SO.
Alan Tudyk.
Yes.
And Darth Vader's body.
Prowse. David Prowse.
David Prowse.
Okay, can I?
Yes, we can go back to your pass one.
Okay. Saw Gerrera.
Saw Gerrera was Forrest Whitaker.
Yes.
Is that the end of your round 1?
Yes.
So you passed on Obi-Wan Kenobi. Would you like to return to Obi-Wan Kenobi?
I would like to return.
With?
Alec Guinness, damn it.
Okay, 10 out of 10 for the both of us for round 1.
Round 2 scary, no.
10, 10, 10. Okay.
All right.
Round 2. Are you ready for round 2? 8 in round 2.
Yes.
8 in round 2.
Yes.
Din Djarin.
Ooh. Oh, Pedro Pascal.
Yes.
You were trying to trick me.
I was.
Bodhi Rook.
Oh, is Riz Ahmed.
Yes.
Ahsoka Tano.
Rosario Dawson.
Yes.
Dryden Voss.
Dryden Voss. Oh, I'm gonna have. I know the name as well.
You can circle back.
Right. Oh. No, I don't think that's. Yeah, I'll pass that. I'll come back.
Okay.
Wicket.
Oh, Wicket. Warwick Davis.
Yes.
L3E7 or L337.
Oh, that'll be Phoebe Waller-Bridge, won't it?
Yes.
Yes, that's that droid.
Oh,
Fennec Shand.
Ooh. I know that.
me with
Pass.
Dryden Voss. Passing on
I
Fennec
know.
Shand. Okay.
Pass.
Okay. Go ahead.
Val.
Val was Tandy Newton.
Yes. Now calling herself by her real name, Thandiwe Newton.
Oh, well, there you go. Rose Tico.
Oh, Kelly Marie Tran.
Yes.
Chancellor Valorum.
Chancellor Valorum was Terence Stamp.
Yes.
Yes. Moff Gideon.
Oh my god. I know that name, but who is that?
Again, it's like me with Dryden Voss.
Yes, like I know that name. Same with the Fennec one. Like I know those names, but who are they? Just pass.
Passing on Moff Gideon. Go ahead.
Beckett.
Beckett is Woody Harrelson.
Yes.
Captain Phasma.
Oh, Gwendolyn Christie.
Yes.
Grand Moff Tarkin.
Young Grand Moff Tarkin. Who was that dude? Who was that dude who pretended to be Peter Cushing in CG? I don't know his name. I'll pass, but I genuinely don't know that man's name.
He was in Potter. So I was like, he'll know. He was in Potter.
Oh, I bet he was. Was he Thickness in Deathly Hallows? Is it that guy?
Yes,
I don't know his name.
yes.
I don't know his name.
Really? Okay.
don't know
I was
his
like,
name.
oh, he'll get it. It's that guy.
Grief Karga.
Who?
Grief.
Like that is, at least the other ones I remembered the names. Like I think the names were familiar. That doesn't sound familiar at all.
Grief Karga. You can pass.
Pass. Yeah.
You're passing. Okay. You passed on 3 of mine in that.
I know.
So you're at 15 now. How many did I pass on?
1.
1? Did I get the
Yes.
rest?
You did get the rest.
No, I'm not.
Oh,
you're not
you
giving me
skipped 2.
thickness.
Yes, no.
Yeah, I won't get that one.
Okay, well, you still have 1 more for me.
So Dryden Voss, then I think is Paul Bettany.
That is correct.
Yes.
Yes.
I was trying to remember what Woody Harrelson was called.
I know.
I knew it was a solo.
I'm gonna say
So,
the
Fennec
guy.
Shand.
Is that Timothy Oliphant?
No. I'll have to take your first answer.
No.
It's not. You have Moff Gideon.
I know the name, but I can't picture what character that is. And Star Wars fans are cursing me in the comments. It's fine.
Well,
we like the comments, so it's fine. We'll take your free comments.
We will. Moff Gideon.
No.
And Grief Karga.
Is that Timothy Oliphant?
No.
I just like Timothy Oliphant.
Fennec Shand is Ming-Na Wen.
Yes.
Moff Gideon is Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
And Grief Karga is Carl Weathers.
Oh. Okay. I just was like Carl Weathers.
All Mandalorian-based
Wow.
characters there.
Yes.
Okay, so that is 15 for you and 16 for me?
Well, no, you still had
7.
1 more of mine that I didn't even ask you yet.
Oh, I do?
My 8th one.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's that?
Chirrut Imwe.
Chirrut Imwe. No, that's that one. So Chirrut Imwe is Donnie Yen.
Yes.
Sorry. I forgot where we on because I'd finished my round.
Yes.
So
I missed 3.
You missed 3, so you're on 15. I missed 1. So 17.
And the answer was Guy Henry.
Guy Henry. Of course it is. Okay. Well, here we go. Round 3.
You already won. It's fine.
Round
You
3.
don't need to do this.
5.
You need to embarrass me further. It's fine.
I don't know. You might. You just might. You just might, Round 3. 5 characters. Are you ready?
No.
Are you ready, though?
Yes.
Okay.
In theory.
Vice Admiral Holdo.
Wait, what? Oh,
Vice Admiral Holdo.
is that Laura Dern?
It is. It is Laura Dern.
I haven't seen that movie in forever. A General Dodonna.
General Dodana. Which one's General Dodana?
Well, this is not supposed to be the hardest round.
Oh, God. Yeah, I'm going to have to pass on him.
Okay.
Go for another general then. General Veers.
Oh. Ooh. I know that name. Veers.
General Veers.
Oh my gosh. I know that name. I don't remember who that is. Pass.
Oh.
Damn it.
Okay.
Sabe.
Sabe is... No, that's not Sabe. Who's Sabe? I thought Sabe was Zam Wessel then for a minute, and I was really going to get mad with you because how the hell am I supposed to remember who played Zam Wessel? Sabe's got to be a Rogue One character. No? Pass. God damn.
Okay.
General Pride. General Pride.
Who's that? I don't know who that is.
No for General Pride. Okay.
Pass.
This is going about as well as round 3 should have gone.
Dorme.
Dorme will possibly be Keira Knightley.
Incorrect.
Oh, what? I bet that's Sabe. God damn it.
The answer is Rose Byrne.
Rose Byrne.
Yeah,
Of
it's a
course
very
it
tiny
is.
role, but she is Padme's like handmaiden.
Yes,
lady.
of course it is.
Yes.
Of course it is. Cobb Vanth.
You're doing this to me. I'm just going to. Oh wait. Oh no! Now I'm like I'm remembering somebody, but I'm like, is that the somebody I just skipped?
I don't know.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna skip again.
Okay. How many more have you got for me? 2?
Okay, wait. Which one? What was this one?
That one was Cobb Vanth.
Okay. I'm trying to like, is he this one or the one that you said before? Okay, I think it's the one you said before. So I'm gonna hold on to it and skip. Lady Proxima.
That's got to be a solo character. Wow, I haven't got a clue. Lady Proxima. Who the hell is even that? I don't know. I've got no idea. Well, my last one for you in my list is Law Santeca.
Santeca. I know that name too. I don't pay attention to anything. Star Wars.
Law Santeca.
Pass.
Passing on Lor San Tekka.
Yes.
One more for me.
Yes. Mon Mothma.
Mon Mothma from the younger Mon Mothma. Her name, I think, is Genevieve O'Reilly.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. I got one. You got one from round 3 there. You got Laura Dern, Vice
Yes.
Admiral Holdo. Did I only
Okay.
get Genevieve O'Reilly then?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's 18 to
And you
16.
got one outright wrong, and you skipped on 3. Were you skipping on Lady Proxima?
I got one outright wrong. Who did I get wrong?
Yes, the doorman. You
Oh,
answered.
yes, that's right. That's right. So it's, what is it now? 1816.
Yes.
So you can pull this back if you've got General Veers, General
Okay.
Pride, Cobb Vanth, and Lor San Tekka.
Okay, I do believe Pride. I'm gonna go for it. Is Richard E. Grant?
General Pride is indeed Richard E. Grant. 18 to 17.
Fears. Okay, do you want to go for your General Dodonna?
General Dodonna.
Or are you giving up?
Who else have I got?
Sabe, Lady Proxima.
Right, so I'm going to go Sabe as Keira Knightley.
That is correct.
Okay, 19 to 17. General Dodonna. Lady Proxima, I'm not going to get. I do not even remotely know who that is.
Okay.
General Dodonna. Do you have any answers for General Veers, Cobb Vanth, or Lor San Tekka? We currently stand at 1917.
Veers.
It's a fun game, isn't it?
No, it is not.
Oh dear. I think it is.
No, I don't. I don't at all.
General Dodonna. General Dodonna is a prequel character. But where is he in the prequels? Is he a prequel character? Is he a Rogue One character? General Dodonna.
Veers is the one that's like standing out as so familiar to me more than the other one.
I think we're going to have to push for time soon.
Okay.
So.
All right. Okay. Oh, he was in one of those. Ugh. What's his face? Is he one of those people? Is he the Grand Moff person, or is he this Veers person? The stupid Maester guy. What's his name? Who is also in Indiana Jones.
You have General Veers, Cobb Vanth, and Lor San Tekka.
Is he Cobb Vanth, or is he? I think he seems like a smarmy general. So I'm gonna say the General Veers
is.
What's his name?
You need names.
Julian.
Oh, you're so close. Julian
Glover.
Julian Glover is General Veers.
Okay.
He also is Grand Maester Pycelle.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't think I'm gonna get the other two. I don't. So I give up.
So that's 1918. I'm not gonna get Dodonna either. I'm not gonna get Dodonna or Proxima. But if you can get Cobb Vanth or Lor San Tekka, you can equal this.
I know.
I'll give you 30 seconds for Cobb Vanth or Lor San Tekka.
Is Cobb Vanth Timothy Olyphant?
Yes! Are you going to get Law Santeca for the win?
Oh my God.
Unless I don't trust that you're not searching these, by the way.
I'm not. I swear I'm not. No, I'm not going to get Law Santeca.
Okay. Call it there. A tie, I think, is a fair result after that showing, Jeannine. General Dodonna is who?
Also, Game of Thrones alumni Ian McElhinney.
Ian McKellen. No.
Yes.
Barristan?
Yes.
Where?
I think in Rogue One.
Wow. Okay. Well, Law Santeca, Jeannine, is Max von Sydow.
Oh,
The very
damn it.
beginning of Force Awakens.
Force Awakens. Wow. That's why I'm like, I know that name sounded
Lady
so familiar.
Proxima. Who's Lady Proxima?
I believe she's kind of the one who's holding Solo hostage, like at the beginning before he escapes and like he steals from her. And it's Linda Hunt, that little very tiny woman who was the principal in Kindergarten Cop.
Okay.
And Grandmother Willow in
Wow.
Pocahontas.
Wow.
Oscar winner Linda Hunt.
Wow. Well, there we go. Do you know what? I'm quite happy that has ended in a tie after that.
Yes.
That was
that was very hard.
That
the
was
fact
good,
that if I had missed Timothy Oliphant after guessing him for like 3 people.
that was good stuff. Okay, well, there we go for another episode of Monday Madness, Jeannine. A greatly fun episode, as always, of this show. It is not the only show you can find on the It's a Wonderful podcast feed, though, nor is it the only thing we have on the YouTube channel, is it?
It is not. We also have some fun things on the channel, some fun movie reviews, DVD collections, Blu-ray collection videos, watch-alongs, live discussions. So check us out on the It's a Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel. We're always doing some fun things over here. Like, share, subscribe, do all of the things. And on this podcast feed, the It's a Wonderful Podcast feed, we also have Morgan Hasn't Seen every Wednesday, where I force you to watch things you haven't seen. We are going to be getting into some really fun franchise in October, as you are not very excited about. We are going to be talking The Purge films all October on Morgan Hasn't Seen. Morgan's been dreading this. He's been avoiding these movies, but now we are watching them and discussing them. So
well, thank God we've got one episode of this series left before we have to get into those.
Yes. So please join us in October for The Purge. And this week we are closing out our horror comedies series with Mayhem, the Shudder original crazy bonkers film. So check us out there every Wednesday with Morgan Hasn't Seen. And every Friday we have the main show on the podcast feed. It's a Wonderful Podcast, our flagship show where we give love to classic films, talk classic movies all October long. We have some fun things planned over there as well. So join us in October for some fun retrospectives on classic horror films and their modern kind of reinterpretations. It's going to be a fun October over there as well.
Absolutely. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we have you covered on the It's a Wonderful Podcast feed. As Jeannine said, subscribe, ding the notification bells on the It's a Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel as well for all the fun stuff we have here. And subscribe, obviously, to the podcast feed itself on your audio places, on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Amazon Music, everywhere else as well. All of it's scrolling by at the bottom of the screen if you are watching this on YouTube. Of course, you can support us on Patreon if you would like. Patreon.com/itsawonderful1. Find the tier that's right for you. There is also a donation link in the description of this episode as well. If you would like to support us in those ways, we could not do what we do without your support there. We are endlessly grateful for the generosity of people. We certainly are. You could also find the show on Twitter at It's a Wonderful One. Find me on Twitter at The Purple Dawn with a 3 instead of the E in there because, Jeannine.
3 is the magic number.
on Instagram at just the Purple Dawn. All your Stephen King and Star Wars loving stuff is where.
You can find me at Jeannine _ on Twitter, Jeannine Devine on Instagram and TikTok. If you want to get any merch for any of our shows, you can see the scrolling link to our Teespring shop. We have some really fun designs. There's some Stranger Things designs, logos for all of our shows. So check that out there if you want some merch. And if you want to purchase any of my art in print form, you can find that at my Big Cartel shop, g9design.bigcartel.com.
Yes, there we go. Jeannine. Impression, I don't know what's a good impression. You could do the silly Piper Laurie voice from Carrie if you wanted.
I'm gonna laugh with you.
That one. Yeah. That. We all know the one. We all know the one I was alluding to.
3, 2, 1. We're all gonna laugh with you.
Bye.